Hi guys. All right, we are here today to talk about an Emu Proteus 2000. I recently purchased this off of Sweetwater's Gear Exchange. Um, the seller said that basically just randomly when using it, that something would happen, and what he said is the effects section would kick in and the volume would get capped and um, it would be stuck in that state until you change programs. So I've done a bit of testing on it. Let me just set it down and sit down and kind of explain. So I did a lot of testing on this, and I'm not able to duplicate that particular problem. But what I definitely am able to duplicate is that after a while, it seems that um, the filter, well, they call it tone, but the filter cutoff uh, seems to randomly change. Um, and it may be that some of these other ones would randomly change too. Um, if I had given it more time. I mean, I've played with it for about an hour. It took a good, I don't know. Well, I played with it for about a half hour yesterday, and I couldn't get to do it at all. But today, hooking it up to my DAW, I was like, well, let's just make a song with it. That's the best way to test it, right? And it started showing up. But every like, it's so often that it's super annoying, and that I mean, you could probably get a 2 minute recording out of it before it happens, but that's pretty annoying. So anyway, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I've never taken one of these apart before. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. My first thought was, all right, let's update the firmware. So I did that. That didn't solve it. So what I'm thinking is open her up, see what it looks like, clean these pots, and maybe clean these, see what's going on back here and with this as well. And just yeah, I'm honestly thinking, at least for the issue that I've experienced so far, uh, is that it's just a bad pot. It maybe it just needs to be cleaned, and that'll be the end of it. It could be a really simple fix. So let's see what's up. I don't know. Let's see what's going on. It's definitely a cool little module. 128 voices, 32 MIDI channels. Uh, it's multi-timbral, so I mean, you could really. It's packed full of some really cool sounds that I don't have. I've got a bunch of synthesizers that I could use. Like, I forget what it's called in the new version of Cubase. There's a orchestral element that's really cool, but it uses a lot of CPU power. Um, well, not a lot, but it uses CPU power. And for tracking, I like to offload as much CPU power as I can to external units. So yeah, I mean, if I could get this thing working, I'd be psyched. It's got definitely some very usable sounds in my opinion. Um, so all right, so okay, I see there's screws on the side here. Reasonable price. I'm not going to spend a lot on this. There we go. Okay, this is the part we wanted the whole time. All right, easy enough anyway. So I'm pretty sure this is the problem. These pots are pretty stiff and sticky. All right, so anytime you're using contact spray, paper towels are your friend. All right, so let's make sure all this is on camera. So yeah, all right, so I'm just gonna really just go to town on these. And then twist away. Till they're easy. Yeah, now there we go. Nice and clean. Hi guys. All right, we are back here with the Emu Proteus 2000 here, and in the previous segment of the video, I was addressing an issue with the pots, and for whatever reason, I don't know, I wasn't paying enough attention or what, um, but this thing was making some really weird noises. I did notice during boot up, it kind of sounded like an old like 2400 baud modem would sound, um, from way back in the day. It was definitely making some funky electrical noises. But once it booted, I kind of really didn't notice anything. But I hadn't spent a lot of time with it. Anyway, long story short, um, I believe the pot situation has been resolved because I ran the unit for 2 hours on loop, and I tracked with it. I'm actually going to write a song with it. And I just didn't have any, those problems didn't surface. But there's definitely an issue with the power supply. And I'll take a photo and throw it up in the video. But basically, this cap right here, I'm not going to touch it because we're plugged in, but this cap is popped, and there's ooze spilling out of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the mic off of my shirt, and I'm going to turn this on, and let's see if the mic picks up these. Hopefully, we don't blow it up, but uh, I guess it'll make a hell of a video if we do. So it's been running for hours in this state, so I'm assuming it'll be fine to run another 30 seconds here. But yeah, let's see if we can catch this sound that this thing makes. Yeah, I have no idea if the mic picked that up or not. But it's just like this real kind of high pitched, annoying whine. Um, so I'm going to swap the power supply out because otherwise, this unit, as far as I know, is good to go. I don't have any trouble with it, and I definitely would like to save it and either use it myself or maybe use it for a little while and sell it. I don't know. I'll see exactly what I do with it. But yeah, I ordered a. You can still buy power supplies for these things. The Extreme Lead and the MoFad and the Proteus 2000. There's a whole string of them that use the same power supply. And, there's a community out there. I think, I don't think, I think this is just made by, um, a third party. It's not made by, these are made by Creative Labs, and they've completely abandoned the whole Emu project for the most part, as far as I understand it. So it looks a little different, but it should be fine, and it's supposed to be plug and play. So we're going to swap it out and see if that annoying whine goes away, because yeah, you can really, when you're like in there mixing, you can really hear it, and it's I would definitely not keep this unit. Uh, I definitely wouldn't work with it if it constantly made that whine. So, all right. So yeah, I mean, we basically have two plugs here. We have this one, which is going to pop right on. Oh, it looks like it has a little clip on it. That should be it. So let's fire it up, make sure it works, and make sure that our whine is gone. Yep, fires right up. No more funky noises. So I think we are good to go with this fix. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the video for now, go set this up in the studio, and yeah, let's see what he sounds like. All right, guys, we're back with an update on the Proteus 2000. As mentioned earlier, after the repairs, I wanted to give it a solid testing to make sure that it's ready to get back out there in the world. So Yeah, I mean, long story short, I worked with it all weekend. I worked probably 8 hour session yesterday and 4 hours so far today, and I've had just absolutely no problems with it. Um, if nobody buys it, I'd be happy to keep it because it's a pretty cool little module. 128 voices. This one's got 1024 sounds baked into the cake that it came with. And there's expansion slots to add 3 more modules if you wanted to. Um, I made it through about 500 of the sounds just messing around, and yeah, I mean, I have a lot of synths, but I don't have really anything that produces, horns or flutes or pianos or anything like that. And granted, this thing was made in the late 90s. It's still pretty, I mean, I'd rather use it than a plug-in, in some cases anyway, especially when I'm, running low on CPU or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a cool little module, and I'd be happy to keep it if nobody buys it. Yeah, I mean, I just want to give you guys a quick test demo, show you what it sounds like. Uh, it comes packed with all kinds of sounds. It's bass sounds, synth sounds, pianos, drum kits, all kinds of stuff. Remember, I can't play the keyboard to save my life, so. Basically, the way that it works is all the samples are, you know, set to loop, except for some, the drum kits or whatever. But most of the samples are set to a loop, and um, I think this is a drum kit here. I mean, you got all kinds of sounds. Just goes on and on and on. Um, some sound effect stuff, synthy stuff. And you have some controls on the front of the unit. It's like cut off. You can actually get pretty deep into it. There's LFOs, there's all kinds of other stuff if you get into some menu diving. Um, I didn't really do too much of that. I just kind of recording the sound straight and then doing all kinds of processing in Cubase. That's how I used it. Um, but yeah, I mean, you can watch videos. There's 1,000 videos online. Dr. Mix actually did a pretty cool. Actually, I think he did a Proteus one, not Proteus 2000. Definitely some usable stuff. Yeah, and with 128 voices and 32 channels of MIDI, you could create some pretty complex multi-programs. You could have a drum kit loaded, a bass. I mean, whatever you want. You could load up to 32 instruments with the two MIDI channels. You have MIDI in A and B, so yeah, 32 channels. So you could really create a whole ensemble with it. Maybe back in the 90s that was the thing to do. I don't think that's what you would use it for today. You're probably just gonna get like one sound out of it, piano sound, or you know, I used in my track that I'm working on, I found this sound. Let's get to it. It's called Hard Dino. And it fit really nicely into my track. And then I did a bunch of post processing, and This track is nowhere near ready for prime time. But um, yeah, I mean, what can I say? It works perfectly, and the repairs were successful. And yeah, like I said, if nobody buys it, I'll be happy to keep it. It makes a good stand for the Virus Ti2 to raise it up a little so I can see it easier. And then it's really easy to obviously get in there and select sounds from my work position. So we'll see what happens. But that's it for this one. Pretty short video, guys. Pretty easy fix. Um, the first time I've ever messed with an emu device or emu or whatever, however you say it. And yeah, pretty cool. All right, guys, catch you in the next one.